Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Hi guys, Ken from Moonpie Creation and Doug also from the Paul Barn production. They made a stained glass together. Each one of them made his way of a stained glass. So I approached Ken and asked him if he minds that I'll join them on this project. And he says, no, not a problem at all. So that is my project. I'm using here for the glass, I'm using old leftover resin that all the time put in cups. So it's not going to go to waste. And sometimes I use it for bottle stoppers. And I decided to use it for that. Before that, as you saw, I used a piece of paduk, and I made a hole in this piece of paduk to fit the 50 millimeters or 45 millimeters cylinders. I'll show you now how I do them. So I cut some of the cylinders out of it. I've got few colors, and I cut it out, I slice it out. This is a parting tool that I made out of a table saw blade. So I made one that's very thin, very strong, but not for big projects, for small ones. Thank you for joining me again on my new project, and I hope you'll enjoy it. And if you do, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And here it is. I made holes, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue the cylinders that I cut with the hot gun glued to their place. All of those was drilled out, and I will then pour some resin above it. I was thinking to myself, do I do it clear or do I do it with a color? But there are so many colors already, so I decided that the resin must be see-through resin, clear resin. I hope you like it this way. I said to my wife, I was between doing it this way or doing it with a green resin. I decided eventually to do it with that. So let me know, what do you think? Would it be nicer with green or another color resin that there is no cylinder plug on that inside this box? Some resin in. Unfortunately, I can't put it in my pressure pot, so I'll have to burn on top. I'll have to take the bubbles on top, and then I will cover it and leave it to dry for 48 hours. I'm using here a leftover piece of paduk that I've got, and I'm going to cut out a plug, and you'll see just now why. A lot of people are asking, why don't you use a bend saw? It's much easier and it's much safer. Yes, you've got a point, but if I do that, the piece that comes out, the square, it's not going to be for any use because it's going to be cut. And this way, it's like a saver. I can keep it for another project, pouring resin in the inside. Marking the center, so I can add the other piece, that the big plug that I done. I can add it to this one. I can glue it on top of it. So I need to put it center to center. In the other one, I did a center hole when I drilled it, so it is center to center. Some of you probably will say, here he cut himself again, and it's a little bit of blood over there. So two things. Number one, I bleed very easy because I'm taking some tablets for my heart. So I bleed very easy. But this one came from knocking my hand on the um, tailstock. let it dry. I let it dry for about 24 hours, and that's 24 hours later. And now the project is ready to start turning it. I first square the center, and then I mark it so I can cut in a tenon, and I will start doing the project from the other side, from the base first. I'm going to do the base first, so I have to create a tenon here that later I'll machine it down. I'll cut it down so you won't see that. So just a tenon, and when we finish it, we'll turn it around and we'll start doing the other side. What I'm using, the resin that I'm using on this project is Resin for Art from the UK, and the tools that I'm using is the blackline tools. Here I have to be very, very careful, because when you machine the corners, you're cutting more air than you're cutting wood. So you have to be very careful and not to go big steps in, because if you go big steps in, there is a chance that you will get a catch and the whole thing will break and will fly out. So if you decide to do it and leave it as a square, because I'm thinking, shall I leave it as a square or shall I make it round? And I decided to leave it as a square. So when you leave it as a square, you have to be very careful when you get to the edges, because you're cutting more air than you're cutting wood. Slowly, slowly, you can start seeing the plugs and the colors of the plugs. You will see them now, and you're also going to see the square pieces of wood that been left behind after I drilled it, and they look like they're floating in the air. Now you can see more or less the basic shape of the leg that I was designing, and I will start um, sending it all the way from 180 all the way to 600, and from there I'm going to do only Yorkshire grid, okay, but the white Yorkshire grid, the 2000K Yorkshire grid. And after the Yorkshire grid, I'm going to put on the wood, I'm going to put OB shine juice. I don't know about you guys, but I can't stop looking at that. At this one spinning, it's memorizing. It's unreal. It's not because I did it, because it's really, it gives you an effect, a very nice effect of color, like a kaleidoscope. That's the right word, kaleidoscope. Time to turn it around, and let's do it on this side. Um, the same thing. I have to be very careful on this side, because you remember I put resin on top of the plugs, but the wood was still standing up a little bit, so I have to be very careful not to go too deep, because then it will break the wood and it will break the resin. So, and the same thing in the corners, you have to be very careful because you're cutting air more than you're cutting resin or wood. But look at the kaleidoscope of color. It's really, really, really memorizing. I hope that Doug and Ken will like this project. I really do hope so. Can you see my new toy? My new helmet, my face shield with air and everything. Very nice. I enjoyed it. Um, it especially when I work with Paduk, the dust of the Paduk goes into your nose and everywhere. And this way, this one, I hope it solves the problem with it. I'm doing exactly the same here also, from 180 all the way to 600. 600, I'm going to move to Yorkshire Grid, the 2K one, the fine one. And after that, I'm not going to use Obishanjus because I don't have wood here. I just have um, resin, so it's not worth using, how you call it, Obishanjus. You can see all the colors. You can see the wood that's left behind, the square pieces of wood that's floating in between, and you can see the clear resin in between. I hope you like it this way. Hey everybody, thank you for staying along. So this is my stained glass project that I joined Doug and Ken. Doug from Pole Barn Production and Ken from Moonpie Creation. Two brilliant and great turners. So they done their glass. I think that Doug done a lamp and Ken done a bowl. So this is a serving plate, square serving plate. My take on the stained glass. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, subscribe, like, comment. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in my next video.